Virginia in South Carolina says, I also love the chant at the beginning because I was at that meetup. Every time I hear it, I remember that we are TYT. Oh, I love that, Virginia. Virginia was part of the great town hall that we did on Wednesday, which was leaked to other people. It was in the member section. We did it on air. Okay, but congratulations on your leak. Okay, so if you don't know, some bozos online said that, and by the way, they also, of course, lied, which is what they always do. Years. Are you happy now? Okay. Oh, okay, great. Oh, ha ha ha! You failed at getting money out of politics. Tell me who's this idiot, Ryan? Ryan, moron! What did you do? What did you do to get money out of politics? What did you do to improve the Democratic Party? What did you do to defeat Trump? What did you do productive? What did you build?
This dude wants to talk about
What did you build? Did you build anything? No. So unfortunately, we have a giant left-wing spectrum, okay? There's a tiny percentage at the very, 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 very end of it. And all they like to do, because they're radicals by nature, that's why they're at the end of the spectrum. They think maximum super extreme policies on everything drive the American people to hate our entire side and never build anything. Never be productive, instead burn everything down.
Do you want to take a look at a little bit of this Young Turks live stream from last night where they address the audio that was leaked to the Vanguard and revealed on our program?
Oh yeah, absolutely, guys. Cenk is triggered. He's pissed off, and this is absolutely glorious. He can't contain himself anymore because we have read him for filth, man. We have dragged him through the mud, and we've been winning, and we've been winning, and we've been winning. And he, he's like refused to acknowledge this whole time that we have taken just years away from his life and stress and financial instability. And it really comes back to us, right? We led this brigade. We were up front. We, burn, 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 burn. And he has finally started to crack, and he's cracking bad. And he's gonna watch this, and he's gonna crack some more, okay? Because now his former colleagues, they're fucking with us, okay? And they're not fucking with him. And he has to go, get called YTY host Cenk Uygur by a racist wannabe Texan, and talk about how ICE raids are good and resistance is bad. Even though he's gonna the next day come out and talk about it. We need to fight by laying down. So anyway, we've broken this man. It's clear as day. I'm excited to watch this with all of you.
Yeah, let's take a look. This was a moment from last night's live stream. Obviously, Cenk responding to and addressing the leaked audio from that members only Zoom call that we played for you guys a couple days ago over here. And in that audio, not only does Cenk kind of admit defeat and lay down, say, I'm done being a warrior, I'm done fighting the right wing, now it's time to be a peacemaker. That was the first thing he said, but then he segued into an announcement where he basically promised to restart something similar to Justice Democrats. He's going to start a new PAC or a new political organization that's intended to recruit candidates. It still doesn't seem exactly clear as to what ideology these candidates will represent, because Cenk's clearly not a progressive anymore. So I guess just kind of vaguely populist. Who knows? But it's obviously a total grift. It's going to be a total failure. It's not even going to be 1/100th as successful as Justice Democrats was. After Cenk left, by the way, is when they became successful. But either way, let's take a look here. Got to scroll forward just a few seconds, and we'll play this for you guys.
Oh yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff from Cenk Uygur today, everybody.
Yep, and poor Jordan and John were in tow. They didn't get a chance to, add any thoughts or perspective of their own when it comes to this one, but they were awkwardly sitting there as Cenk did this. So yeah, let's take a look, guys.
Virginia in South Carolina says, I also love the chant at the beginning because I was at that meetup. Every time I hear it, I remember that we are TYT. Oh, I love that, Virginia. Virginia was part of the great town hall that we did on Wednesday, which was leaked to other people. It was in the member section. We did it on air. Okay, but congratulations on your leak. Okay, so if you don't know, some bozos online said that, and by the way, they also, of course, lied, which is what they always do. And they say, oh, Cenk's gonna do a new project where he's gonna get paid. Really? What am I gonna get paid? What have I taken from any Wolf-PAC, Just Democrats, Rebellion PAC, Calvary PAC? Zero. But did they say that? No, they just make up a lie because there's no accountability. So they just lie. They lie every time, every single time. So they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna make money. Where did I say that? Where did anybody say that? Oh, here we go again with yet another outrageous lie, because they love to smear and destroy.
And by the way, we never actually said in that video, at least from what I remember, we never accused Cenk of having made money off of Justice Democrats or Rebellion PAC, at least not directly. What we did say is the reason why we think he will use this as a self-enrichment scheme is because of the fact that not even a year ago, when he was on the campaign trail running for president, he said on Crystal Kyle and Friends that he would take corporate PAC money, that he'd violate the one principle that he essentially built his whole network off of, which was to not take corporate money. He said, "No, actually, I think I will, and I would if it's offered." So that's why we said clearly he doesn't have any principles in that regard anymore. Clearly, he will use this as a self-enrichment scheme and at least try to attract that corporate money.
Oh, 100%. And the other thing that we pointed out was how irresponsibly he had used your money already, particularly at Rebellion PAC, giving it to Brianna Wu, somebody who has done nothing but antagonize the left, just as Cenk and the Young Turks have. And also, let's hear it from the horse's mouth on how he feels now about corporate PAC money.
I want to clarify your position here. Will you accept big money donations? Will you accept corporate PAC money, super PAC money, etc.?
Yeah. So, guys, I'm not going to do unilateral disarmament and go, okay, Joe Biden and everybody else and their uncle gets to have giant super PACs, but I'm not going to. No, if super PACs come in on my side, which, by the way, is not enormously likely, but I'm being honest and I'm being principled, and I'm telling you, yes, I would allow the super PACs. And if
I want to clarify your
So, boom. Yes, I would allow the super PACs. Yes, I'm not going to do unilateral disarmament, right? So, excuse me for suggesting that your new super PAC venture over here might not be from the goodness of your own heart, but to grease some palms and get yourself some work. Because one thing that we always remember, and what we did suggest, was that he might be having to turn to the old liberal funding mechanism where you start a non-for-profit, or you start a think tank, or you start a super PAC so that you can pay yourself to run it. Okay, that was what we said. And I'm sorry to say, well, when you're taking money from Polymarket, when you're taking money from Dr. Phil to go on his stupid show, and you're not doing inauguration coverage on your news network, and you're not responding to the State of the Union address live on your news network, and instead you're running around grabbing checks every single other place, yeah, we can assume pretty justly your network's not doing too well. You're not too solvent right now, and yeah, it's fair to speculate.
Yeah, 100%. Let's look at this awesome projection also from Cenk. Not that he isn't correct in the substance of this point, but I think there's a lot of projection here because, of course, Cenk himself ran for president in 2024, and this is basically exactly what we said about his run for the presidency. So he says there's rumors Donald Trump Jr. might run for president in 2028. He denies it, but even the rumor being out there increases his value. People will want to come on his show more. His speeches and books will be more valuable. This is how the game is being played behind the scenes. And he's like, and I know because I just did the same shit. That's exactly what his run for president was, guys. That fake, stupid run for president where he wasted everyone's time and begged for money that wasn't actually going to go to anything that would amount to anything, obviously, as we told you guys from day one. No, that run for the presidency was about attention and selling his goddamn book. We talked about this endlessly, guys. He released his stupid book, Justice is Coming, basically the same weekend he announced his presidential campaign. Therefore, yeah, clearly it was all a self-enrichment scheme, right? That's obvious, especially because he had no chance of actually winning, right? At least Don Jr. would actually be a contender in the GOP primary if he put his hat in the ring. So yeah, it's probably, obviously there's a rumor out there that he would run. Of course, he's one of Trump's kids. He's one of the heirs to the throne. But when Cenk did it, it was literally just to sell his book and to get attention, which is exactly what this new Justice Democrat style PAC or organization will also be. A way to get attention, a way to get invited on a bunch of dumb shows like PBD and Timcast and Glenn Beck and whatever, and also probably to conveniently, promote his new book or tyt.com/shop or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I think what Cenk really had in his mind was that he was going to pull like a Andrew Yang 2020, right? So you have this guy who isn't really well known, but he gets on the Joe Rogan podcast and he starts talking about the UBI, and then he becomes a national commodity pretty much overnight, right? You had Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, a lot of these outsider candidates creeping in along the edges, and they were trying to replicate the success of Bernie Sanders, who had come before them, right? A guy that they viewed as an overnight success, not understanding that what made Bernie Sanders a lasting president was the fact that he was real, was the fact that he'd been doing this night after night, day after day for decades and generations, right? Always keeping his eye on the ball. People could smell how phony Andrew Yang was. And then we busted his balls for the next like 2 years on our show, talking about his, bipartisan bullshit, talking about how he was only interested in selling books, just like Cenk. And then Cenk came so late to the party in 2024 in the early primary season, thinking, oh, I'll just leverage my political celebrity, my internet clout into a presidential run. I'll get in on all of these podcasts and then people will want to buy my book, not understanding that he'd missed the boat, that there was no longer any market for what he was selling, that after COVID, things had changed dramatically and he was so not plugged in that he was just humiliating himself. And he didn't learn a single lesson from his first failed run for office against Christy Smith. In fact, he learned the exact opposite lesson, which is that he needed to run for president instead of a local election that nobody would pay attention to.
Yep. 100%.
All right, and I guess that was the last of that one from Cenk. And pretty crazy that he's so obsessed with having strategy, right? Cenk, whose strategy was cuddling up to Elon Musk. Cenk, who said, "Oh no, don't worry, Donald Trump is afraid of his base." And then here's Cenk from just the other day, trying to take a victory lap as if Donald Trump and DOGE didn't just decimate the entirety of the American infrastructure and the national park system and OSHA and IRS and the USAID. I told the left that Trump would recalibrate when something he's doing gets unpopular. They said he would never do that. Yet today he scaled DOGE back because it became unpopular. No, it's because Elon Musk already got everything he fucking wanted. He already accomplished his wet dream. They're drafting notices to fire half of the people that work for the IRS. They've already fired all of the people that work for our national parks. They've already taken a fucking sledgehammer to OSHA and workers' rights. That was what Elon Musk cared about. And right as the economy was about to collapse, Donald Trump had to be like, all right, I'm stepping in and giving the adults in the room the controller again.
Yeah, that's what it seems really happened. It doesn't have anything to do with Trump responding to the base or giving a fuck about the will of the people. No, what happened was, as we discussed at the beginning of the show, the actual, adults in the room, people like Marco Rubio, who it pains me to say is at this point the adult in the room, right? They were like, bro, we can't fucking run our agencies. We cannot keep the government running unless this piece of shit stops meddling in our affairs. Tell him to fuck off. And Trump kind of had to. Seemingly that's what happened. It's probably a combination of that and Trump's narcissism. Obviously, Trump doesn't like sharing the spotlight. But neither of those things are related to his respect for the will of the people or even the will of his base.
No, and it's crazy for him to come out here and lecture other people like Francesca about strategy. It's like, this was your strategy, dude. You're fucking idiot. Anyway, moving on now. This is the spicy stream from yesterday, and it looks like he picks up where he left off with the Francesca bashing, and then he gets into his own little private meltdown. So let's take a look.
Hell yeah.
All right. I just read a super chat that I was amused by. Okay, here, I'll read it for you guys. Leox writes in, to Cenk, who paternalistically believes that he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the trans to wait for a more convenient season. Sit down. First of all, I appreciate the $20. So second of all, yeah, no, you're absolutely wrong. And I don't care what you think. And you don't care what I think, we're even, okay? So if you say to me, hey, I'm gonna protect Muslim rights by spray painting Hamas all over statues in DC and burning the American flag, I'm gonna tell you, hey, moron, that doesn't protect my rights. That actually makes things way, way worse. So please sit down, because you're an idiot who's totally and utterly counterproductive. And
wait, Gavin, when have the transgender athletes been spray painting Hamas all over downtown? I want to sign up to do it too. I'll bring my own spray paint. I'll bring some of those little water bottles that everybody likes. We'll have ourselves a ball. I want to be a part of that if it's going down.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know what specific trans activism he's referencing. Just the existence of people advocating for their right to participate in sports, I assume, is what he's comparing to the defacing of monuments and bells.
Pretty nuts.
Do you speak for all trans people? I don't know who you are, okay? But I went on a show that with 4 trans women, they 100% agree with me. Do they speak for all trans people? Of course not. No one.
By the way, that
for all
podcast was Brianna Wu's podcast that she hosts with 3 other trans women, and the whole point of that show is to be like, we're the good trans people who shit on other trans people. And there's even an episode of that show where they literally said, we're not women, we're a secret third category of human. That's what trans people are. They literally admitted to the right-wing framing that trans women aren't real women. That's the show Cenk's bragging about going on.
And that's a person that he pays a sum of at least $40,000 in a year, or it's $39,000 in change, because I know Cenk's listening and we don't want to get the lawyers involved. But yeah, we put that up the other day. That was what triggered Cenk. So that's the only person that he can reference, somebody that he pays thousands and thousands of dollars to.
Trans people, all Muslim people, all Americans, no matter who online yells louder. Oh, I'm the one protecting them because I have the most counterproductive moronic strategy where we go super extreme. And when we go that extreme, the Americans will love us. No, they won't. They'll hate trans people. Don't do that to them. By the way, every one of the people who say we're anti or I'm anti-trans is a giant liar, okay? So for example, I do the Jillian Michaels interview. I get Jillian to agree, yes. Trans people should be protected in bathrooms. They should be able to go to any bathroom they like. They should be protected in the military, and they shouldn't be kicked out of the military. Did anyone ever tell you that in the shows that you were watching? Of course not. They just said, "Oh my God!"
And by the way, he didn't change Jillian Michaels' mind. It's not like he went on Matt Walsh's show to do that. Basically, all he got her to say was like, "Oh yeah, I used to support trans people, but now they've gone too far." That's the admission that he got from her that he thinks is a win for the left. That like, oh yeah, this fucking bougie ass white woman 10 years ago when Obama was, it was during the Obama era and it was cool to be on the left, she supported trans people, but now, she agrees that they've gone too far.
Yeah, the woman that just recently made the 24-hour news cycle for saying she didn't care about starving children and was happy to see U.S. aid cuts. That's the woman that you were so eager to collaborate with and, get her to agree that trans people, they're deserving of some rights. Yeah, some rights, enough to make me feel good. I don't want to feel like I'm prejudiced, so just, we don't have to make them a third-class citizen, just a second-class citizen. I'm very woke. I'm very reasonable.
Yeah. They shouldn't be forced into professional sports. How dare he? I am the great protector of trans people. And I will tell you what is true. And I speak for all trans people and all marginal communities. Bull crap. You don't speak for anyone. So run your mouth and I don't care. And you think you're like Martin Luther King because you have these insane ideas of putting like, again, I hate to use this example, but it's the most over the.
It's so funny too because he's like, what do you think you're Martin Luther King dreaming of a better tomorrow? What do you think you're Martin Luther King talking about ending prejudice when everybody else thinks you're crazy? What do you think you're Martin Luther King standing up for marginalized people when it's unpopular? Yeah, it's kind of what Martin Luther King did. He kind of had this whole legacy and he got shot for it by the FBI because what he did was he had a dream for the future that was not recognized by society. And of course, all of us, if we're good leftists, have the aspiration of walking in that guy's shoes. Who wouldn't? Do you think it's an own to try and live like Martin Luther King Jr.? No.
The top thing I've ever heard. Putting people like Floyd Mayweather into women's boxing. You think you're helping trans people? Because if he declares himself, I know it's a stupid hypothetical by Piers Morgan, but you can't say yes to that hypothetical. You can't argue that that is the correct strategy for trans people because you're going to cost them their rights. And you have. We had it on bathrooms in the military. And then you morons insist.
Oh my God, it's trans people's fault. He literally is blaming trans people for their own rights being taken away. That's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I used to support, I supported the end of segregation, but busing, that's just too far. That's just too far. Yeah, that was a lot of people. They said that, right?
School integration. Yeah, they're like, oh, we can ride the bus, but I'm not sending my kid to the same school as a black kid. Of course.
Joe Biden said that. He was like, oh, I'm here to support the end of segregation, okay? But I don't want a kid going to a racialized jungle, right? That's essentially the role that Cenk is playing in history right now. I know audience. It's not a perfect comparison, right? But it is always somebody who's willing to say, I've got one foot in to supporting one group and my other foot into keeping them down, right? And really what it comes down to is the fact that they just want to feel comfortable. They don't want to feel like a bad guy. So they want to keep those people away from them because they don't trust them or like them, but they want to feel like a good liberal neighbor. And that's essentially what line that Cenk is straddling right now. And again, he's trying to say that trans people are responsible for their own oppression because they didn't play nice and they didn't play by the rules. That's something that we constantly hear liberals say about minority groups.
Yeah.
No, these extra privileges are constitutional rights. You don't have a constitutional right to play in the WNBA. You don't, okay? And when you insist on absurdities, you drive hatred towards that community. Stop hurting my community, the Muslim community. Stop hurting the trans community. Stop being so stupid.
Well, he's gonna come back here in just 1 second. Everyone.
Yeah, there's a little bit more, right?
Jordan with you guys. Also, some guy, and Amir Mujikovic, I believe. Thank you for signing up, guys. We appreciate it. This goes to. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And all right. All right, I'm gonna do one comment here real quick from Super Chat. Ryan Isbell wrote,
somebody who's not triggered.
and Wolf-PAC has been fighting to get money out of politics for 14 years. How's that going for them, Cenk? Your own logic for Nancy Pelosi used against you. Oh, you're so clever, Ryan. So the guys at Wolf-PAC are like mechanics and electricians and nurses, et cetera. They're all beautiful American people, not involved in politics otherwise. They're trying to get money out of politics. How's it going? They miraculously won in 5 states, including California, and including states like Illinois in the middle of the country. They did amazing, amazing work. And they did it for 99% of people there are volunteers. There's a couple of guys who get paid so terribly there. Nobody else has ever taken any money from Wolf-PAC. They're barely surviving. The Democratic Party.
Is that supposed to be a flex? He's like, it's not supposed. This is the kind of infrastructure. What did I do? I offshored all of it so I could take credit for it on my show. And these guys, they're living on a shoestring budget. But I'm out here with Dr. Phil, and I'm not doing anything to promote Wolf-PAC. I'm starting a new venture because I'm leaving those guys high and dry. And I'm gonna just bring them up every once in a while and talk about how they're mechanics and they're nurses, and I don't know their names, and I don't know exactly anything much else about them except for the fact that they're working people. They get their hands dirty, and that's why I can pay them peanuts on the dollar, oh, come on. This is essentially the argument that he's presenting to you guys, and he wants you to finance his next operation, which is not Wolf-PAC or Justice Democrats or Rebellion PAC. It's this new shiny thing that he wants you to pay for.
Yeah, 100%. And also, it is I wish these people were getting paid more. I wish Wolf-PAC was doing better for sure. But it's kind of on the organization to properly fundraise, right? If they're not creating a compelling pitch, if they're not raising attention and people don't want to donate to it, that's kind of how it works. That's why Justice Democrats is basically non-existent. They had to fire 75% of their staff because people stopped donating. People stopped believing in the mission. And that's a important part of running a NGO or a charity or whatever you want to call an organization like this. You have to convince people that it's worth their support. Because if you just feel, oh, this has been going on for 14 years, maybe in 14 more years, we'll get another state. That's not compelling.
No. The establishment Democrats came in and just torpedoed Wolf-PAC. They called all the state legislators at the Democratic level and said, don't you dare be in favor of a convention. And they did overwhelming propaganda. And they even have liberal hosts like Tom Hartman doing dumbass propaganda against a convention that could get you an amendment and actually bring you real change and take money out of politics. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna blame those poor guys because you'd like to score a point against me? Okay, fine, blame me. I didn't magically get money out of politics, even though we've been trying so effing hard for the last 14 years.
And then you just rolled over for your own political ambition. We've played the tape of you over and over saying that, yeah, you're not going to unilaterally disarm yourself. You're going to take corporate money, bro. It's like for me, but not for thee. That's your entire model for all of life.
Years. Are you happy now? Okay. Oh, okay, great. Oh, you failed at getting money out of politics. What the hell did you do? Tell me who's this idiot, Ryan, moron. What did you do? What did you do to get money out of politics? What did you do to improve the Democratic Party? What did you do to defeat Trump? What did you do productive. What did you build?
This dude wants
What
to talk
did you
about production.
build? Did you build anything? No. So unfortunately, we have a giant left-wing spectrum, okay? There's a tiny percentage at the very, 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 very end of it. And all they like to do, because they're radicals by nature, that's why they're at the end of the spectrum. They think maximum super extreme policies on everything drive the American people to hate our entire side and never build anything. Never be productive, instead burn everything down. Oh, there's someone on our side who doesn't agree with me 1%? Well, I'm the God. I set left-wing policy. So if he doesn't agree with me 1%, burn it down. What did you build? And my answer for the radical left is, so far in my history, in having done this for 25, 30 years, the radical left has built nothing.
What are you talking about? We have almost 100,000 subscribers, and we've turned your hair gray, brother. We've turned your, look at it. Look at this. His temple's throbbing. I guarantee you, he's still using the stuff that you comb through your hair tonight. Cenk, you're gonna have to go to the salon from now on, brother. That's what the Vanguard did to you. We're the new home of progressives. That's what we built while you were floundering.
They are destroyers. All they do is destroy. So I'm not interested in that. So if you're radical left and you want the most extreme policies that the American people absolutely hate, and you want to tear down everyone else on the left, I'm going to fight you. I'm not going to say, oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh, are you going to cancel me? Or are you going to, you're going to say some bad things about me? You already do anyway, because you're a bunch of morons. So come at me, come on, let's go. And all reasonable people, all people who actually believe in 99% of Democratic voters, who actually want to get positive things done in this country, who want paid family leave, who want Medicare for all, who want these things, higher wages, who cares about the American people, and who doesn't want to play silly culture wars. I'm more pure, I'm more moral. Me.
You're the what?
Okay, I'm not interested.
Bro, you're the one that won't shut the fuck up about trans people in sports. As I just said, there is no issue that is more just culture war fucking nonsense than that. I'm not saying it isn't important for trans rights. I'm not. But what I mean is that 99.95% of Americans never will have to deal with that issue. It's not something that is relevant to any normal person's life. But how long have you fucking spent talking about it? How long have you spent scolding the left for having the wrong position on it? And then you want to say that we're the culture warriors? No, the only time we fucking talk about trans people in sports is when we're responding to your odious propagandistic talking points, bro.
In your crap. Take your crap somewhere else. Don't worry, there's a million shows now. They'll feed you that crap every day, that crap sandwich. Oh yeah, we're the purists. Yeah, yell Nazi louder. Oh, I'm sorry, I burned them down, What did you burn down other than the Democratic Party, other than the left, other than a single accomplishment?
Are you
You've
fucking
never
kidding?
fought for any of the bills.
That's so fucking infuriating, because it's the Democratic Party that burned down the Democratic Party. It's the establishment fucking ghouls that destroyed the Bernie Sanders movement that directly led to Donald Trump not only getting elected in 2016, but also in 2024. To say that it's the far left that wrecked the Democratic Party, no, it was the far left that almost built back up the Democratic Party, that almost successfully infiltrated the Democratic Party to make it the party of the people once again. It's the establishment that fucked us. Like, is that not the most infuriating shit? If we were in charge, if our faction, the radical left, the Bernie Bros, if we had our way and hadn't had the primary rigged against us, then we never would have had to fucking deal with Donald Trump.
Yeah, that part right there. The reality is the only path to prevent Donald Trump was committing to the Bernie Sanders movement. And to Cenk's credit, he was there along the way. He saw it. I know he knows the correct path, but because he has, like other people we're going to talk about before the end of this podcast, devolved into a boomer, somebody who is only capable of engaging with the world through his own fucking grievances, he has decided that more than the Democratic Party has aggrieved him, this toxic new brigade on the left, as he's put it, right? The people who actually want to defend trans people, the people who aren't fucking around, the people who don't want to gaslight regular Americans about crime and talk about how, oh, bro, we just need to incarcerate more people in the most incarcerated society ever. Oh, no, we just need a higher police budget in the most militarized police society our country's ever seen. Okay, we had tanks on the road, all kinds of fucking bulletproof armor, all kinds of insanity on, oh, if we just do a little bit more policing, if we just give them a little bit more money, if they just put a couple more people in jail, we'll have safety, instead of addressing the root causes. That's what you've done. We have given people answers. We have said, hey, it is about having solidarity. It is about saying, why do people steal? Why do people commit crimes? Oh, because they don't have shit? They're resource starved and they're desperate? Yeah, maybe we should try redistributing some of the wealth and see how that goes. We've never tried it. Wow, this should be the kind of thing that you're parroting for. Oh, but it's loudmouths like me who are 27 and recording from my house and talking about how, yeah, my trans homies deserve the same rights as me. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm the problem. I'm the one that's kept people down. Fucking bullshit.
You've never fought for policy. This audience has fought for policies and for positive results. We fought for birth.
Bro, that's why your audience left you. You don't have an audience anymore, Cenk. I have your audience. Gavin has your audience. We have your audience. Your audience does not exist. They belong to us now. We are in a community. We are in a pod. They do not need you. That's why you're shitting bricks. That's why you renamed your studio Poly Market Studio. Okay, that's why you're out here with Merit TV and Dr. Phil, who you're going to support in a failed gubernatorial effort that's only going to debase you. Okay, everybody around you is fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. Okay, you're playing the last note on the Titanic anymore. You don't have shit, Cenk. You don't even have an audience. You don't even have a crowd to speak through. Okay, you're just an empty voice on a television. You are existing to be mocked. Okay, we get far more engagement mocking you than you do on your own network. How do you like them apples?
We fought for progressive pledge. We fought for the populist plan. We fought for $15 minimum wage. We fought for all of these things. And yes, at Wolf-PAC, I'm so proud of those guys. They fight with all that they have for it. Wolf-PAC.com. For God's sake, if you're going to try to burn someone's house down, go for it. I know you pyromaniac.
We already did it at the House of Progressives, and we rebuilt it over here at the Casa del Vanguard.
Loser radicals. That's all you have in your arsenal. But once, when you're at home, can you just ask yourself, look in the mirror and go, wait, have I ever built anything in my life? Instead of just yapping, have I actually tried to pass a bill? Have I for 1 second thought, how do I help people? How do I pass a bill that affects people's lives? How do I get people?
He's not talking about progressive activists or far left people in this country that are actually involved in the work of politics. He's talking about people like us. That's literally all he's talking about is other YouTubers. It's like, yeah, bro, we're political commentators. We're not fucking part of a think tank here. Our goal is not to craft legislation, pass bills. Our goal is to give our opinion passionately. But yeah, go talk to the actual progressive political operatives that exist in this country, the people that are actually doing activism, the people that are actually working at a progressive think tank, whatever. Yeah, those people do exist and they are building things. Like, I don't know why you're assuming though that YouTubers are going to have some impressive political resume. It's just a stupid straw man.
Bro, I do impersonations and tell dick and fart jokes when I'm pretty stoned. Okay, I'm an entertainer, and yeah, I believe deeply about politics and in the politics that I espouse on this show, and I'll never waver in them. But it is not the same what I do and what people who pass legislation do. And I would be the first one to tell you guys, and Gavin would be the first one to tell you guys that. And you know what Cenk could be doing if he actually gave a shit? He could have people on like KC Tenants, who just led the first ever successful rent strike in Kansas City history, or at least in like a fucking 100 years. He could talk about how they were actually able to draw a manual cleaver down to the Independence Apartments building and have him look around and be like, oh yeah, if they don't cancel your guys' rent, like we're taking all the HUD money from this place. This place is no longer getting subsidized because of this. That's what real activists do. And what you can do is, if you're fortunate enough to have a platform, is you can elevate those people, right? And what we understand over here at the Vanguard is that we have to be fighting on all fronts. Entertainment and media and fighting in this space, it is essential, right? We cannot let the right-wing propaganda machine cannibalize everything. We cannot have no way to push back against their messaging and their slop, okay? But it also has to be combined with the real tireless activist work, right? And Cenk and Anna and the Young Turks used to do a really good job of threading that needle. I remember when they were very, very involved in promoting our revolution. They were very, very involved in promoting opportunities for the left to get on the ground and support Bernie Sanders. They stopped doing that, right? And then they pretended that it was the fault of the activists. They pretended that it was the fault of the fucking, people that were fighting the hardest. What? The people who are on the ground fighting for progressive change are the people who want to stand up for trans rights. 100%.
Yep.
People elected. How do I get them elected? What happens after they get elected? How do you hold them accountable? No, all you've ever done is, I am so pure. Since I have the most radical policies, since I'm the least popular person in America, I'm the purest. Yes, but what's step 2 and what's step 3? How do you actually help the average American? Oh, you haven't thought of that. Of course you haven't. Now watch. After this, of course, it'll go viral because like the guys, what do they call that thing at the bottom of a boat? Whatever they are, right?
He doesn't even know how to be funny. Cenk, I'll tell you what, I feel so bad for him. Off air or on air, you take your pick, Cenk. I'm gonna coach you. All right. I'll be your, instructor for a while, and I'll help you get your groove back. I'll help you work on your comedic timing. I'll give you some real easy jokes to keep in your back pocket in case you ever need to, backhand a loudmouth yapper like me. I want to help you right the ship again. Cenk, I think maybe the word he was looking for was anchor. I don't know. His brain is so cooked. I can't even tell where he was going with that.
Honestly, I don't know what he's referencing either. The stuff at the bottom of a boat. Do you mean the bottom of the barrel? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
After they get this and they'll do videos about it, like, oh my God, we got more videos on Young Turks. Well, we're such losers that our whole lives are centered around the Young Turks. What pathetic losers. Oh, I criticize Young Turks for a living. You must be so effing proud. Okay, so they'll get this, and then you know what they'll do in the next day? All of a sudden, they're
bro, what's so funny is that Cenk is complaining about us for a living. I'm happy to admit I sit on my ass and make YouTube videos for a living. Whenever anybody in my real life asks me, I'm like, I make videos on YouTube, right? I don't say that I'm like a world builder or a saver, but it's a lot better than humping packages at Amazon. Okay, Cenk over here, he's actually hurting so bad that he has to interact with us professionally. Okay, that's how you know we've got him. Okay, he's bent over a barrel. He is totally fucked, and it's wonderful to see. It's glorious.
Radical left, the 13 losers online, will go then and be like, oh yeah? Oh no, we had a plan all along. What was our plan? What was our plan to get people elected and pass bills and get Medicare? Oh right, we yelled Nazi louder than you. Which voters did that win over? How did that help get to the right conclusion? Conclusion, what's your goddamn plan? And watch, they will all pretend to have a plan. Right now, you go back and watch their videos early. Did they ever have a plan for passing anything that helped your life? Zero. And now they'll pretend they'll have a plan, but I can't wait for them to pretend. Because they're gonna come up with the most comical, dumbest plans in the whole world. Well, if you're more pure and you sign for the most.
If getting beers with MAGA is taken, I don't know if we'll have any ideas. You know what I mean? If cracking a few cold brewskis and tweeting at Elon has already been covered, I don't know what else there is for us to do.
This kind of reminds me of like when a movie director makes a really terrible film and then like critics shit all over the film, and then he's like, well, show me your movie. Like, where's your movie? All you can do is criticize mine, but where's yours? And it's like, it's not a very mature response. That's kind of the vibe I get from this. Yeah. Where again, it's like we don't work at a think tank, bro. Our goal is not to pass policy. Our goal is to literally be opinion commentators. That's what we are. That's what we do. We're honest about it. We say that we're media critics. Our goal is not to write bills. That's not our fucking job over here. And part of the reason why we don't consider that part of our job is because we've watched you miserably fucking fail over and over again and embarrass yourself. And not just you, but pretty much everyone who wants to be a YouTuber and a serious political person. You know what I'm saying? It never works out. Pick a fucking lane. Are you a political commentator? Are you a hothead online with a lot of opinions? Or are you a serious architect of policy? Usually there's not a ton of crossover in that Venn diagram. You know what I'm saying? Usually the serious people that are passing policy, yeah, they're not spending their time being a loudmouth on YouTube, which again is 100% what we are. I'm not claiming anything else. I'm not pretending to even be a journalist. No, I'm a literal fucking YouTuber. I understand the platform. We create videos based on what's popular on the platform. We try to meet people where they are at, but we don't pretend to be above this. Also, I would say that even with all of that said, our advice to the Democratic Party is actually still far better than Cenk's. They would actually be better off if they took our fucking advice and analysis strategically, right? With all of this bluster, it's like, yeah, what have you built, Cenk? So a bunch of failing PACs that you use to funnel money into Brianna Wu's bank account? and then a bunch of electricians who apparently get underpaid or whatever by your own admission, miserably fucking underpaid. Meanwhile, Brianna Wu gets $45,000. That's what you've built. And then 2 other ones that are abject failures that no one talks about anymore, including yourself. Okay. And then you ran for president and got negative 5% in the polls, and you ran for Congress and got 4%. Like, what the fuck have you built, bro? Again, our advice is actually better than yours, even with all that experience I just mentioned. Any Democrat in the country would be much better off taking our advice and listening to us than the Young Turks.
100%.
Those extreme policies, we will magically win. Okay, where's the goddamn magic? What is step 2? What is step 3? How do you actually help the American people? But you don't care about the American people. You don't care about the left. You don't care about anyone but your own stupid ego. Sorry, John, next story.
It's okay. I want now to transition to a light story for everyone.
LOL, dude, it's like, this is a wife in an abusive relationship, right? Like, oh, it's okay, dear. I'm sorry you lashed out at the dinner table. You were very stressed. You know, let me just give you the big piece of chicken, and I'm gonna ask you to tell your favorite story about back in the day when you were a boy. You know, and oh yeah, Dad, don't worry, Dad. It'll be all right. Just eat the big piece of chicken and shut the fuck up while we talk about sunshines and roses for a little bit, please, Dad. No. I mean, God, nothing to say in response to that. This is when I start to lose a little bit of respect for the other fellas at Young Turks. This is embarrassing for you guys.
Yeah, let's just, I mean, we've defended John and Jordan both, but let's just say there's a reason why they keep getting invited back and not Francesca. Because Francesca would not just move on. Okay, haha, teehee, let's do a light story now. No, Francesca would have said, that's bullshit, and here's where you're totally fucking wrong. Like what? This just, yeah, this seems like fucking an abusive relationship. This seems like he's almost too afraid to push back, or he's just accepted that if he wants to have a future at this company, he can't. Like, that's what we're watching. So again, a job is a job. I don't know, you know, maybe for all I know, John Iderola has a chronic illness, and if it weren't for the benefits he receives from working at the Young Turks, he wouldn't be able to treat it anymore, right? You never know what position somebody's in. You can't blame someone for just walking away from their fucking health care. But I do agree. I definitely would have handled the situation differently. And honestly, thank God I'm not in that position. Can you imagine if you had to listen to me go on a rant like that and then just shut the fuck up and not push back? Like, imagine if you felt like, you know, like you would lose your job. And you just had to listen to me, or vice versa.
They're like,
yeah, you'd be like, oh, because obviously both of these guys are smart enough to know better. They know that Jake is full of shit and he's just a bloviating, narcissistic loser. They both know that, probably much better than any of us. They have to work with him behind the scenes.